What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HOA MMA. AJ, we took a week off last week, had some things in terms of scheduling conflicts. Busy week last week for me. How you doing, man, after the week off?
Been just as busy as you, man. Just a lot of things going on right now in personal life. Just kind of get things moving, but busy, but productive. So I've been quite happy and chilling over the
Great.
last week or so.
Um, Anything else coming up now that it's kind of turning into summer? Anything you got planned for the summertime?
Oh, I've got loads of plans for the summer. Going to be traveling quite a bit. Um, and I know that again. I kind of bring up boxing quite a lot in here, but we're finally going to get the big one. Spence
Yeah.
Crawford. We're finally going to get the big one in July. Same week as Inoue against Fulton. Inoue is probably my favorite boxer going on right now. It's probably pound for pound. I think it's pound for pound number one. He's moving up in weight. So that fight's on a Tuesday, and Spence Crawford is 4 days later. So in the same week, two elite title fights going on there. But this summer in the whole, it's going to be a very very good one as it always is. What about for you though, bro? Anything you got
Um,
on the
we don't
horizon?
have we don't have any vacations planned. We just swim a lot. That's what we really do in the summer here. I mean, I grew up swimming all the time, so my kids swim all the time too. And we're just gonna swim a lot. We got work and everything in between, but just plan on being at the pool a lot, getting a lot of color. I'm trying to join you with a little bit of. But no, overall, just spend time at the pool, spend time with the family. No major vacations or anything planned, but there's always next year.
Of course, for sure.
Let's get into it. Since we took a week off, it's been 2 weeks since the Dern and Hill card. Uh, let's just touch on it a little bit. Right off the top, Mackenzie Dern, uber impressive performance. Um, really dominated start to finish. There was a couple moments where Hill, strung a couple punches together, but Dern really shut it down throughout all 5 rounds, in my opinion. Um, Anything you want to say about the Dern Hill fight? It was also awarded Fight of the Month by the UFC, which I thought was a little bit laughable because it was so one sided. Like, if you wanted to give Dern Fighter of the Month because she was so dominant, that's a different story. But Fight of the Month, it wasn't back and forth. But is there anything you want to say about that fight before we get going down the card?
It was clearly the fight that Mackenzie Dern kind of like needed because she's kind of been pushed as a potential like star, not like a superstar or anything, but you recently been backing her very very a lot recently, and
Mhm.
she's always been seen as she has that potential. She has potential. She has this elite like grappling game, but what happens if her hands catch up with that? And that was kind of what she needed in terms of everything kind of like clicked for her on that night. Like whether it was on the feet, she'd be uphill. On the ground, whenever like she took her down, she had like a clear advantage. Just like she managed to dictate the pace and literally like the fight, like that whole fight went on her terms. It went her way from literally just like from start to finish. And I think 2 10-8 rounds as well, which is
There was
which
one for sure. One
yeah,
for sure was a 10-8. I don't know if they gave her the second one, but I
yeah,
for sure remember it being 10-8 on one.
which is absolutely insane. And she did it over 5 rounds. Having being able to feel like I can go at the pace for 5 rounds is huge. But again, fighting against Angela Hill, who is obviously coming towards the end of her career, like more likely now, and I
Yeah.
know people call her a 500 fighter. She's either wins or loss, wins, loss, wins, loss, but she's still very game, and Dern put on a career bet. Like that's probably the best we've ever seen Mackenzie Dern, and I do like her calling up Rose afterwards,
That was
and
big time.
that was big. Don't obviously get me wrong. If Rose is still Rose, forget about her last fight, which was just absolutely awful. Like Rose is still Rose, and trying to like I won't imagine Dern will have her way so easily against Rose at all. But I like that. I like how she's like looking up as she knows. If she beats Rose, you're gonna get a title shot.
Yeah.
So all props to her all round.
Most definitely. Yeah, great call out. Great fight from her. a lot of social media calling her her new divorced form of fighting is is
It's a
much
different
better than what
fire.
we saw before. But yeah, shout out to Mackenzie Dern for a hell of a fight. Let's jump down. I tried to tell you before. I told
Hey,
you,
man.
baby Ronda was not going to win that fight, and Hernandez really put it on him to put him out of that fight. Um, I don't think Baby Ronda had even a bad fight. He just all of a sudden started getting caught, and it's hard when you start getting caught to catch back up. And it just eventually Hernandez poured it on, and it was too much for him. Was there
He looked
anything in
really
that fight that surprised you?
just the fact that if you told me if let's just say on that weekend I didn't watch the fights and someone told me in the co-main someone won by TKO, I would have thought Edmund would have caught him, but Hernandez put it on him, and Edmund looked good in the first round. Like he was kind of doing what he was doing when it was on that fast rise. It was, his striking was very clean. He was hitting like really hard shots, but then what kind of happens, which we kind of seen a lot from him. He kind of tends to fade, and when people kind of like put pressure on him, he eventually folds, and that's what Hernandez. He literally just took all of his best shots. I was like, okay, now I can see you're going to start to tire eventually. Now I'm actually going to step it up, and all props to him. And Hernandez is someone, he's kind of like a streaky kind of like fighter to me. Like he's one of those ones you can feel like he can go on like a run and maybe crack maybe the top 15, but easily you can see him getting beat, like sounding beat. I remember against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland they blew him out in round one. So, but good win all around. And again for him, Edmund, he just needs to go back in the lab and just try like fix a few things, because he's still young. He's still in his mid-20s, so he still has a lot of time. But when you're fighting in the UFC, there isn't any easy fights. There are no layups. So you're fortunately gonna have to learn the hard way.
Yep, totally agree. I just good performance by Hernandez. Good first round by Baby Ronda. Just too much for him in the end. Let's jump down. Godinez, ended up being a lot closer than I thought. Kind of scraped by Ducati to get a win there. Anything in that fight that you saw? I mean, I really didn't. I thought it was a solid fight. Both ladies really kind of put it on the line. I just thought Godinez was a little bit better over the 3 rounds, but it wasn't, split, or it was a unanimous decision, but I would not have been surprised if it was split. So good fight though, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a fun fight. I mean, Loopy's someone who I'm like a really big like fan of. At times, she was a bit off at certain points in the fight, where like I felt she kind of like allowed Emily to kind of come back into it. But the thing about Loopy is when she's on, and she's really good. And when she was on during that fight, like she was in total control. And overall, it was a decent performance. But we know that, and she probably knows this as well. Like she could never do a lot better. But overall, like it was a very fun fight. Very fun fight.
Both ladies, really went for it, and I enjoyed the fight. I mean, but let's jump into what I'm guessing you want to speak about is our guy, Joaquin Buckley, with a nasty, nasty kick, shin kick, whatever you want to call it, put him out. Joaquin Buckley, in my opinion, is dangerous in all capitals at welterweight. Danger.
He is going to be in a lot of fun fights at this weight class. A lot of fun fights, because he's kind of shown, at welterweight, and at middleweight he was very undersized, even though he had explosive power. But now that he's come down, and it kind of seems like the weight cut isn't that hard for him, and his power has like carried down, he's going to be in a lot of fun fights because throughout the first couple of rounds, especially every fight starts on the feet. In the first round, he's extremely dangerous because comes out of nowhere, like his kicks, where it's like the spinning the spinning Mortal Kombat kick or like the Tekken Taekwondo kick, insane.
So crazy.
That high kick that obviously caught Fiello out, like, and even his punches, like he is explosive, and he's going to be in a lot of fun fights. I know he wants to fight Ian Gary. I think Ian Gary is. I like that a lot, but I feel Ian Gary is looking a bit more upwards. But at welterweight there is a lot of fun fights there for him. I can see him against like the Leech, you know, for example, two guys who are just going to come forward and fight against Ponzinibbio, or even one day he could fight Kevin Holland again, you know, potentially, and that fight could be fun. So
Gary called out Neal, right?
Yeah,
Jeff Neal, or did he call him
Magny?
No, he called out Magny, which I'm excited for that also. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you know, the Leech, Ponzinibbio, those are winnable fights, but they're also tough fights. And I like that in both ways, because you're fighting for that right in that below 15 spot right there. You're right in that conversation if you beat one of those guys, and he's just got to work his way up, like we're talking about. Buckley's, he's just so fun. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He can do something that just literally could change your night. Like that's just the thing he's got. He's got that special ability that just alters a fight so quickly. Michael Johnson, in my opinion, got retired. He may not be retired, but he got retired. If you follow me on that one, very, very dramatic knockout. Anything else you want to say on that? Because that's pretty much summed up what happened.
I just remember I was chilling. I was literally watching the fights. I was kind of just like relaxing, like, you know, first fight on the main card, kind of just easing my way in, you know. And then that knockout made me like jump up. Like I was like, holy shit! Because for one, Ferreira isn't known for like knockout power. I think his last knockout has been in years, and he sent him flying. He sent Michael Johnson flying. And I know we've seen it happen before at featherweight against Josh Emmett, when Emmett cracked him and put him out. But this one, like, he sent him literally halfway like across the cage and put him out. Like, he was definitely in the shadow realm, man. Like, boy. And you can arguably say it's a KO of the year candidate as it is right now, because that was just insane. That's probably going to be Ferreira's career highlight.
Very possibly. It's going to be hard to top that. You know, shout out to Michael Johnson, obviously. He's still getting in there, and he's still fun. It's just, it's hard to watch a guy, you know, fall off. And it felt like this was a big step in him falling off. Really, overall, I thought that was for not being overwhelmingly, you know, chock full of stars. I thought the card overall was very good. Probably, you know, I'd give it like a B. I thought it was a very solid card. Kind of highlighted some other guys instead of, you know, other guys and gals. When I say guys, I do mean gals also.
It's one of those cards where on paper you feel like it lacks a bit of star power, but then in terms of the actual fighters performance, it like elevates it, and you're like, oh, you know, this is why I watch MMA. This is why I watch the UFC, because even though it is a weak card on paper, like we still, in terms of the context of MMA as a whole, we still got like elite, world class like fighters, and you know, at like any given moment, someone can step up and do something crazy. So
totally. I mean, we got 3 knockouts / TKOs and two unanimous decisions. I mean, it was a good card. Let's get into something else. Something we're both excited for after recent news. Almeida is booked to fight Curtis Blaydes in November. You texted me right away, instant banger. We're both pumped right away. And I want to mention something to our friend on Twitter, Philip Kadick. We have bet. I personally bet that Almeida would beat Blaydes by TKO in the second round. Okay. And he bet Blaydes would win, and we're going to do a shoey. So I'm going to do a shoey on the show if I lose. So just wanted to call that out before Philip. I know we shook on it through Twitter, but I'm going to do it either way. If our guy loses, how does that fight look to you though? I'm excited, man. This is a big one.
Almeida ducks no one, like clearly,
Yeah.
because if you kind of look in terms of like his skill set, he has a good like we saw it in his last fight, right? Most of the heavyweights just will go out there and throw with you. Mila's like, nope, this is MMA. I'm going to throw like a little like teep kick, and then I'm going to go for the double leg. I'm going to take you down, and I'm going to grapple you. Trying to grapple Curtis Blaydes, good luck with that because nightmare. Like when he's on, I know he looks very lackluster, but that's against Pavlovich, and everyone who Pavlovich fights recently looks subpar because he just runs through them. You know, Blaydes' wrestling is really good. We're gonna find out how good of a grappler Almeida is because you know, Curtis Blaydes' wrestling poses so many problems.
Yes.
And even though I feel Almeida is better on the feet technically, Curtis Blaydes has underrated power. Like he is a big guy, and Almeida is a very small heavyweight. Like he can easily make 205 as we've seen before.
Yep.
You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if Curtis Blaydes could catch him and put him in trouble. But Almeida looks like one of those like very special fighters, and you know if he's able, as you said, to like put Blaydes away in 2 rounds, that is a huge statement. If he does that, you're either getting a title shot or you're literally like a fight away.
So my main thing is I am calling this for Almeida because I think Blaydes. I think he's just. I don't know. I'm worried about him taking punches recently. Mm-hmm. And I believe Almeida will be able to put his hands on him, and I believe he'll be able to touch him. And I'm worried about Blaydes, is his chin most recently. Now, his chin has been hit by 2 of the more dangerous guys in the division. Well, obviously Francis too, but we know. I just think that it's maybe starting to go a little bit, and I'm going to give Almeida. I'm ready for a new guy to step up and step in, and that's exactly what this is right there.
Yeah, and it's kind of clear, like, with this matchup, you know, because we've got, obviously, you know, Pavlovich, Almeida, Aspinall gone. Like, and kind of tie as well, maybe. But it's kind of clear we've at least got, like, 4 guys who are, like, clear of this new breed of, like, heavyweight, you know. And I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, let's just say, for example, right, you know, we've obviously got John against, obviously, like, Steve Payne next. Right, we can kind of see that. Let's just say John wins, yeah. Like most likely, think like John will win, or like Steve wins, or whatever, right? We always got Aspinall against Tybura, and we've got Almeida against obviously Blaydes. If Almeida and Aspinall were to win, you would imagine one of them is probably going to fight Pavlovich. The other one is going to fight Garn. So obviously that way you've probably got like a semi-final of obviously like the four new breed of heavyweights kind of like match up against each other, and obviously the winner of those could go on to fight John, or you know for like Dern or other. It's very clear that like the UFC want to play like the very like long game of we really don't want these 4 guys to fight each other until there's high stakes. So I kind of, and don't get me wrong, Blaydes and Tybura can easily just like come out of nowhere and be like, plot twist, this isn't happening, and with that will create very, very fun fights out of it also. So, but it's very clear that obviously we could potentially have a lot of great heavyweight, got a lot of new blood at the top of heavyweight division, and a lot of fun fights coming out of that.
For sure,
like long time.
Here you go. I'm gonna throw a wrench in your plan. John Jones retires. Is it Pavlovich versus Gan for the title?
If Aspinall beats Tybura in dominant fashion, I could see Pavlovich against Tom, because a lot of people could turn and say, you know, why is Gan getting another shot at the vacant belt when he's obviously lost in 2 title fights?
You think Tybura puts him in the title fight? Maybe it's very possible.
It could just be process of elimination where, you know, we've got Pavlovich here. What other highly ranked heavyweight do we have who's free? Or you could even see, let's say if Almeida, because because obviously Tom's fighting in July. Almeida gets a dominant win in November. It's a more of like recent win, hype.
Mhm.
Blaydes is a bigger name than obviously Tybura. We could see Almeida against Pavlovich, and then we can see Tom against Gon maybe.
Ooh. There's a
Crazy.
lot. The heavyweight division has some really strong contenders right now. And if we can get John and Stipe out of the way, no disrespect to either one of those guys. Obviously, it would be cool to see John fight some of these guys. It just doesn't seem like he wants to. It just doesn't come off that way. The way he's kind of dismissed Pavlovich, which is crazy to me that you would dismiss somebody that's just a world beater. It seems right now, but that's John's thing. He's the best. He's the best of all time. It's his bag. But yes, some very interesting matchups coming in the future for heavyweight for sure. Another big thing in the news most recently, tough Conor versus Chandler has started this past week. I'm not going to watch it. I like to binge a lot more now. I've come in to like realize there's only a select handful of shows that I will watch week to week. I like to let it build and then binge. So I'm not watching it week to week. But how interested are you in Tough right now?
I'm 50-50. So I'm interested in the fact that at least it's going to have two interesting like characters. You know, like ever since Tough's come back recently, you know, like the coaches have been on it, haven't really kind of where like I feel like, oh, like I need to watch what's going on. Regardless of how people think about Conor in 2023, Conor brings eyeballs, you know, like you already know he's going to go out there and he's going to say some crazy shit. And you always got Chandler, who's pretty much like the opposite of him. He's pretty much like the like clean cut, like poster boy kind of. And you always got Conor, who is just, you know, we already know how notorious he is, pardon the pun, you know, but, and you can tell that obviously both of them are good at like selling a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So you already know that there's gonna be a lot of fun back and forth between them. So I'm very much interested in seeing it. And I kind of like the fact that, you know, you've obviously got vets against prospects. So you've got people who were in like the UFC who may have lost like a contract, who have been fighting all around the world in MMA. And you obviously got like prospects, like the up and comers who are trying to break into the UFC. And you know the prospects are with Conor, which makes a ton of sense. You know, if you're like coming into the UFC and you're around like the biggest star ever, that kind of sells itself. The vets around obviously Chandler's a more of a workhorse. You know, he's going to be in there grinding with them. You know, actually doing like the X's and O's. Conor just seems like, you know, I'm just going to like shake your hand, be like, hey, I'm Conor. It's nice to meet you. All that like charismatic stuff. Let's just go out there and spar. I'll do a bit of coaching and we'll do whatever. Right. So, and
whose team would you rather be on? If you were a fighter, I understand you're not a vet or a prospect, but if you like had your choice of coach, whose team would you rather be on?
Biggest chances to win, I'll probably say Chandler.
That's what I would say.
But if I feel really confident in myself, whereas I feel like I have a good enough skill set where I can win if I just along have like decent coaching. Being around Conor, you're gonna have the cameras on you more. That gives you more shine. You know, I'm just thinking just beyond just the fighting. You know, if I can give a good account of myself, if I can win it, you know, and kind of show a bit more of my personality as well, that could open up opportunities as well, like long term. But I'll probably say the safe bet, like the most safe bet, would be to join Team Chandler for the reason that I just said.
Totally fair, and I like that you kind of spun it in the superstar type way. You know, you become a household name. You were on Conor's team. You kind of get the Conor rub. That totally makes sense too. But if I'm a guy who's, you know, maybe not the most flashy, but I have solid hands, a solid, you know, base. Chandler's probably gonna help me level up faster than Conor is in terms of coaching and who's around me. So I would definitely probably lean Chandler also. And really it's interesting because those two guys, and Chandler's not as crazy as Conor is, but he's a very entertaining guy in his own way. And we know when he gets in there, it's going to be fun as hell to watch him. He's always fun as hell to watch fight. So I'm going to binge watch it eventually. What is the last season you actually watched?
Of Tough.
Yeah, because it's been a while for me. It's been a while. I watched a little bit of TJ and Conor.
Yeah, I'll probably say Faber and Conor is like the last one where I really was watching.
But the last one I watched all the way through is back with Chael and Wanderlei. Hey, I can't let you get too close, man. I can't let you.
Soon.
Hey,
soon.
He asked him, "Do you know when we're fighting?"
I mean,
and he just no, but seriously, do you know when we're fighting? Like,
what made it funny was like he read him like a book. It was like he pushed him. He was going to swing, and he just took him on that double leg. Textbook.
That's the problem. Like, you really got to watch out, dude. Like, if you see somebody has anything that looks like a cauliflower ear, do not get close because they're just so like they get to that leg, that double leg before you have a chance. Yes. And Chael he knew like it was just, oh man, Tough's had some great moments for sure.
In jeans and flip flops.
Anytime.
Anytime.
That guy's the American gangster. Like it doesn't matter. All right. Let's move on. We do have fight night back this week. It's great to have fights back. Couple weeks off, everything kind of resets, get the, week after week after week. It is a little bit tough. So we got a nice little break there, and now we're back in the swing of things. We got Kai Kara-France versus Amir Albazi as the main event. We are both very big fans of Kai. You've mentioned Albazi a couple times to me. What do you think about this card overall to start? And then I'm going to ask you about a little bit about the undercard. Just give me your thoughts on the card overall.
Well, I'm not really. I know a lot of people are like saying this is another Apex level card, but this card has a lot of cancellations. I think the original main event was Hermansson against Brendan Allen. That fight fell through. That's why we've got Kai against Albazi now. It's overall like a decent card. There is one of my guys is fighting in the co-main. You already know who he is. We'll go through that a little bit later. It's a very solid card considering it has lost quite a few fights for it. So I'm not mad at it. And arguably, the main event now will probably would be a much more entertaining main event than Allen against Hermansson, arguably. So I'm pretty looking forward to it.
Yeah, like you said, solid card. Obviously, Hermansson and Allen would be a nice addition. I'd like to see how Allen deals with Hermansson and see if he has that next level to his game. I just think. In my mind, okay, Jack wins this fight. But then I think about it more. I'm like, can Allen beat Jack? And in what way can he beat him? So I would have liked to see that on here too. But I think Kai and Albazi are a very, very strong main event in terms of the X's and O's. Is there anything on the undercard that caught your eye besides that young upstart Andrei Arlovsky?
I can't believe a former heavyweight champion is fighting on the prelims at the Apex.
It's crazy.
He should at least be on the main card.
He's not even the favorite. He's not even favored to win.
Insane. Apart from the Arlovsky fight, I know that we lost Guram against Jamie Malarkey, which would have been a really, really fun fight. Jamie Malarkey is one of those guys, he's it's a case of, he will either go there and put you out or he'll turn around and get basically smoked himself. So his fight against someone last minute could be it could go either way. And those fights and his fights are normally fun. So that's the one I'm going to look out for.
I don't say. Here's the thing. I always tend to gravitate towards the names, but there's a lot of guys on this undercard that are very talented fighters. But you see a name like Nurmagomedov. Where do these guys come from? Like, not everybody can be Khabib's relative. I just don't even understand. Let's get into the main card now. First up, we've got Silva versus Souza. Those are some names we've heard from the past, but these ladies are going at it. How do you see this one shaking out?
I do like Silva a lot. And just in the few fights I've seen her, Kellen Souza, I've seen a bit, not as much. I believe that Silva was meant to fight Caitlin Vieira, and I think Vieira pulled out. I think don't obviously quote me on that, but I am probably leaning more towards Silva. I like her game a lot, and I feel like she may be just a bit too technical, and she'll probably take out late.
Yeah, and then this is Souza's first fight in the UFC. She's coming over from Invicta. I believe she was the champ there. I think at flyweight. I also have Silva winning the fight. I don't know as much about Souza other than she was the champ at Invicta. Very similar reasons to you. She's got a little bit more significant strike, a little bit more reach. She's a little bit older, more experienced, in my opinion. I'm going to give Silva the edge in that one. Next, we've got Tim Elliott versus Victor how do you say that? You got I'm Altamirano.
Yeah.
Tim Elliott fought for a long, long time. Another one of those tough old boot type guys. Who do you got this one winning this one, and how's it shake out?
I'm gonna go for Victor. Like it's kind of like as you said, Tim Elliott's been there, done that, and won the t-shirt. Victor is 12-2, so he's kind of shown, he most times out there he goes out there and basically does his thing. Tim Elliott has probably seen everything, but I feel like this could be Victor's time to see when he faces up in higher comp.
Yeah,
I have a feeling he may just rise to the occasion.
I'm totally with you on that one. I had Victor winning this one also. Tim Elliott's a little bit better on the ground, I would say, a little bit better takedowns, but the hands is in Victor's advantage at this point in their careers. I'm gonna give Victor the win also. Should be good. Tim Elliott's 36. It's kind of how long are you gonna go with this? Is maybe possibly a retirement fight, depending on the outcome.
And trying to be an old flyweight is hard because at flyweight speed is everything.
Yeah, especially the guys are so damn fast.
Yeah.
But that'll be interesting to see. If maybe Tim Elliott one more ride, beats a little bit younger guy, and keeps going. But like you said, flyweight is tough when you get older. Next fight on the card, Jim Miller. Another just old cagey veteran versus Jesse Butler.
I just want to say this now. Jim Miller must be cursed because people keep pulling out against him. Every single time he's finally gets someone, it's someone last minute. Like recently, we had Jared Gordon pull out and a few other people. In his last few fights, I think all of his original opponents have pulled out for various reasons. Jared Gordon makes sense. A month ago, he literally got KO'd. We all know it was because of that headbutt, against obviously Bobby Green, but he was clearly put out, right? So trying to come back after like a month's turnaround was just crazy to me. Jim Miller is literally around for one reason. He just wants to show that he can be at UFC 300, because he's been around so long. He fought at UFC 100 and 200.
Yep.
He wants to get to that, so he's literally just keeping himself active, fresh, just keep everything all nice and going until then. So against someone last minute and Jim Miller at any moment he can pull something out.
Yep.
I've got Jim Miller winning probably within the second round.
Yep, I've got Jim Miller also. I like that you said that he has a goal. It's clear he wants to get to UFC 300. Jesse Butler steps in. he, 12-4. This is his first fight in the UFC against a guy with Jim Miller's experience. I think Jim Miller just overwhelms him with the experience and takes the win.
Most wins ever.
Yeah, yep. That 35-17 is crazy. Next fight, Daniel Pieta versus Alex Cocaris. Is that how you say it? How you see that one going down?
You know how I said that, one of my guys is in the main event? Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres is one of my guys.
Yeah.
Always fun. He's always fun to watch. He has such an fun style. Anyone who knows me, I just love very slick kickboxers. He's one of those. He also has a solid BJJ game as well. Pineda's good. Pineda's very good. He's 38 now, I believe, but he's seen it all. He's decent everywhere, but I feel like Caceres is going to be too quick for him, and he's going to be too quick for him on the feet, and I feel like he will eventually catch him. And even if it was to go on the ground,
yeah.
Caceres is very sneaky in terms of grabbing like subs. He's very sneaky with it. So yeah, my guy Bruce Leroy, which is one of my favorite nicknames ever as well. I have him, and the thing I like about this fight is that Caceres is coming off a highlight reel, like the head kick against I forgot.
Rosa.
Yeah, Rosa. Yeah, he literally just put him out with that crazy kick, and Pineda's coming off a fight of the night performance. So both fighters are coming into really, really good form. But yeah, man, I am definitely picking my guy Caceres in two. He's gonna come out and do something fun and flashy.
Just because he's your guy, I'm gonna pick Pieta.
Yeah.
Just because we can't agree on every fight, so I'm gonna just go against you on this one since we've agreed pretty much everywhere else. Both guys, like you said, very fun, very good fighters. This should be a good fight no matter what. Just a matter of who gets that chin first, in my opinion, and it could go either way. But I'm gonna just to spite you, go against you. Next fight is the main event: Kai Kara France versus Amir Albazi. This one's an important fight. These guys are teetering right on that. Are we in that title fight conversation? How do you see this one playing out?
This is the fight we find out how good Amir Albazi is, because undefeated in the UFC. He's only lost once in his whole MMA career so far. They tried to make him have fights against Alex Perez, who we know has a lot of weight issues. It kind of seems like he is always pulling out fights. Who is still quite highly ranked.
Mm-hmm.
He had a fight against Brandon Royval, who we know is one of the most exciting guys as well. A very talented, high-ranked flyweight as well. That fight didn't happen. So it's very clear that that the UFC are very high on him, and I can see why. Like most of his, I think, 3 finishes and only one fight that's obviously gone all 3 rounds so far. So it's very clear that Albazi is very talented. He has a very good grappling game. Last fight, he actually got a knockout, so he showed that he has hands as well. Yes. But this is easily going to be his toughest fight so far because Kai Kara France is, at least on paper, the best kickboxer at flyweight. At least on paper. I know Brandon Raider kind of caught him, but even in that fight, in the interim title fight, I had actually Kai up 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm. He was fighting a good fight, a really good fight.
He was fighting brilliantly, even though Moreno was there. Yeah. I had Kai winning those 2 rounds. He was winning the 3rd until the body kick.
Yeah,
Like, he was fighting superbly. So we've obviously seen Kai fight at the very highest level, even though he fell short. It's just kind of And then now it's interesting because we've got someone who's kind of like tasted that upper echelon level. You know, he's fought against the champ twice.
Right.
We've got Albazi, who's seen as this, is he going to be the next contender? And he's coming up. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they match up. It's very clear to me if the fight was to stay on the feet, Kai has a very clear advantage there. But then Albazi has more than enough grappling and wrestling to obviously counteract that. And it's going to be interesting to see how they both go over 5 rounds as well.
Yeah.
This fight is going to be a close one,
yes,
in my opinion. This one is going to be a very, very close one. I am going to pick Kai just, but I wouldn't be shocked if obviously Albazi goes basically out there and just puts on an absolute show. But either way, this fight is going to be a really, really, really tight, contested fight overall.
Yes. Totally with you on all that. I think you're spot on. I've got Kai winning also. Nothing against Albazi. I think wouldn't be surprised if he won. He's that good. It just, like you said, Kai's fought the best guy in the division, and he was right there until a perfect kick landed and just changed everything. So I think he wants to get right back in there and be a contender against Moreno again. And this fight right here puts him right back in that conversation. And I think Kai wins this one also. Would not be surprised if it goes 5 rounds.
Yeah.
These guys have more than enough to take it that far. And obviously they have the tools to end it before then. But I think this goes 5 rounds and we get a decision.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that's fight night, France versus Albazi. AJ, what else we got, man? I mean, really, we're just kind of biding our time till the next pay-per-view at this point.
Yeah. I have a fun weekend ahead. I'm seeing Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
You're finally seeing it.
Finally seeing it. Before you ask, I know what happens in 2. Don't even try to call me out. I know what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, unlike our friend who didn't know our self-proclaimed MCU stan.
Okay, well, tell us what happened then.
Peter Quill ends up finding his dad, who's a planet Ego, who obviously found out that he gave his mom the cancer and all of that stuff. Yada, yada, yada. I know what happens.
That might have happened, but a lot of people
didn't know. They kind of thought it was Ego. But I'm also seeing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as well on the weekend as well.
Yeah. I'm hearing that's the best movie ever made. I mean,
people are raving about it.
I mean, people are so excited. That's awesome. I'm probably gonna go see it next week with my son because we'll do that together. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that too.
It's gonna be. It looks amazing. Some of my friends saw it last night and just been raved about it in our group chats and stuff. It looks wicked. And you already know how much I'm a big movie fan. I've been doing my Blade Runner rewatch recently. Yep. I haven't watched Dune as much this week. I'll be very, very honest with you. I've kind of toned down on it like a little bit. Let's do. I've been very, very busy, as you can kind of see. But yeah, and I mean, I'm just kind of waiting. You know, like kind of as you said, fights have kind of like slowed down like a little bit, but we do have a lot to look forward to, even though we do have one pay-per-view card, which is going to be a bit of a tough watch. But
unfortunately. Yeah, so overall, guys, that's the show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all the subscribers. We're slowly working our way up there. Views are getting a little more consistent. We appreciate you guys for that. And then, AJ, I will see you next week, and we will prepare for the pay-per-view.
Indeed.
Peace. All right, guys. HOA MMA out.